What's good, everybody? I'm your judge, Dark Wolf, and over here we have Counselor Q. How you doing, Q?
What it do? What it do? It is Friday night. I'm feeling good. We've got our first of two matchups over here on Vigos today. Feeling good. Feeling good.
Nice. So it looks like we got 4 Dwights, 1 Locker versus Monarchy. Now, 4 Dwights, 1 Locker is no stranger to the competitive scene. They've been here for Vigos a couple times now. Monarchy is a fairly new team, and for those who don't know, Monarchy actually used to be part of 4 Dwights, 1 Locker till they split and separated. So this should be interesting. It's a little bit of a rivalry we got going on here.
Yeah, it should be fun. You know, you mentioned the backgrounds of the two, and I believe Monarchy is one of our, I'm going to double check here before I say, or while I'm saying this, but I believe Monarchy is one of our undefeated teams, while 4 Dwights, 1 Locker is actually looking to get a first W on the board. So it'd be kind of a nice way to spoil Monarchy's perfect streak while getting a good first dub on the board for yourself if you're 4 Dwights, right?
Yeah, it would be, like David versus Goliath, right? It'd be that'd be real nice upset win. Moth is a very strong killer for Monarchy, and he puts them in a lot of good positions for the survivors to really kind of chill back a little bit. They don't really have to work super hard because Moth tends to do very well on his side. And 4 Dwights, 1 Locker, their survivors seem to be doing pretty well, and their killers are like pretty good, but there could be a little bit more work done there to kind of bridge that gap. So it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight.
And I double checked, and that is indeed the case. So 4 Dwights, 1 Lockers looking to spoil Monarchy's perfect season here. Should be interesting. I'm really excited.
Yeah. So where are we going tonight? Do you know?
Well, I am super excited because it is going to be a map that's a little bit different from the usual.
Ooh, we're going to Wretched Shop. It's Autohaven Wreckers map, 164 square tires, 10,496 square meters, 8 hook min, 13 hook max. So, it's a decent sized map. Not a ton of hooks. So, there's a little bit of opportunity there to try to evade some of those nasty multiple hook locations that sometimes you see happen, right? Sometimes a killer will get that one in their 3-gen and then get another, and then what are you doing?
Yeah, one thing that's tough though, I would say, with this map as far as the survivor side is you usually are pretty limited on the amount of tiles you have. You have a lot of more filler palettes kind of around the main shop area, right? Like shop is obviously a very big tile in itself. But then you just kind of have a lot of fillers other than, I think it's like 3 or 4 different potential tiles. Other than that, it's just kind of, really a lot of open field for the most part.
Yeah, it does seem like that middle kind of suffers from that. But it's not really a high traffic area, right? Because all the gens are usually on the outer perimeter. You'll have the one that's mostly always in the shop, and then occasionally there'll be one in shack. But other than that, it's just, they're kind of usually by a gym, except for the one that spawns outside shack, right? That's usually by the little truck there. But yeah, the middle is not a fun place to be, but again, you don't really see a lot of traffic there.
Yeah, I really like it because I feel like this map still leaves a lot of killers like up on the table that would be good selections for this map, right? And we're talking moving into week 4, so you haven't seen too much of the S tier killers come out, but more than likely, I think both of these teams will probably still be trying to save them as much as possible. But who knows? Maybe come like trial 3 or 4, we might see one of these teams try and bring out an S tier just to like wrap up a win, right?
Yeah, and also, if they're gonna come into it, right? I think it's 4 Dwight's home, so they're surviving first, right? So Monarchy's probably gonna come out swinging, right? Try to get that early pressure on them, and then depending on how that goes, right, it's their map, so they should be able to survive pretty well on it. You might see 4 Dwights come out with a strong killer just to kind of try to bridge that gap, right? So it's just because they know they're going to have to do back-to-back killer, so they might pull out a strong one, or they might do the opposite, right? Pull out something not so strong, see how it fares, and then maybe throw the strong one in after that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like when I think about Ret Shop, obviously one thinking about in the middle, and I feel like it's a killer that gets brought up often because it's not an S tier killer. And this is kind of time where you don't want to be using those a lot. But this could be a good like Huntress map I also like the idea on this map of maybe going the route of doing something like either like a Nemesis or even a Cenobite. I really like what both of them bring to the table as well.
I was gonna say, yeah, Cinnabite does pretty well there, just because of the way the chain hunt works, because it's so open, right?
Mhm.
Especially in those middle areas, there's not a lot to hide from it from, right? So you really need to control that box. Huntress on here, she can be good, but you gotta remember that there are those couple of tiles that can work against her. There's a 3 lane that's usually down by the shop itself, and then you have the typical TNL or pallet gym up by Shack. But other than that, there's usually like I think there's only 3 or 4 gyms here, and there's a lot of just pallets, a lot of just open pallets.
And I do, by the way, like the idea of we're not going to be able to do it, I don't think this season, but whenever we can, um, look at introducing the newest killer, right? I feel like she brings like a lot to the table for the competitive scene once kind of teams get to really take a look at her.
Yeah, her power is quite interesting. I think people are still trying to get a grasp on it, right? She's only been out a couple of days, so it's going to take a minute. But I think it's kind of very similar to Cenobite, right? Because he came out, and a lot of people were super excited just for the lore, right? Oh my gosh, Pinhead, great. And then they play him, and it's like, oh man, he's kind of garbage. Oh,
Right.
his power is useless. Oh, this and that. And then once they start to really get into him and really understand his kit a little bit more, and through trial and error, right, you got to figure out what works best. And if anyone who's been playing DBD for more than a week, you kind of notice that the yellows and the browns are way stronger than they should be a lot of the times, right?
True.
So there's some hidden gems in there. You gotta have to kind of figure out what works best. And we've seen that. In ETV, we've seen a lot of people play Cenobite and do very, very well. We've seen a couple good Cenobites here at Vigos. I'm sure you've seen. I'm assuming they've been in DBE. I would hope.
Yeah.
He's definitely climbing the ranks as a killer that is that unexpected surprise, right? Because typically in the conversation, you got your Spirit Blight Nurse, and then who, right? That's pretty much Spirit Blight Nurse. Who else? And then you kind of throw in your whoever's strong with what. But Cenobite's starting to come up in the tier, right? A lot of people are like, oh, he's a C or D tier. Now he's sitting at like a or B, honestly.
Yeah, I think as people have gotten more of the hang, I almost feel some people even, I wouldn't say to the same extent with like when the twins first released. I think a lot of people figured how strong she was, but I think people have realized she's more than just a slugging machine now, right?
Yeah.
As they've kind of gotten their hands on the twins more, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think, especially because I feel, you had mentioned we're starting to see Cenobite starting to move up the ranks. And I think probably finding a good spot. I'd probably say, I don't know where you think, somewhere between 5 to 8, probably on most people's list as far as the tier.
That's why I'm thinking like low A, high B for sure. That's where I would put him. And it all depends on preference, right? Because it depends on who's playing, what their typical style is, if they fall within that area. Because some people, right, you play a Bubba can be just under S, just depending on how they play it, and then he also could be like D, very, very low D, depending on how you play him. So it's interesting to see how people are utilizing him, because I've seen some people utilize him in a way that his hooks are used to slow you down in a loop so they can get that guaranteed hit.
Right.
And I've also seen people use him not ever even using a hook. They just use his power for information, and then when you see that, you're like, wow, that's very smart. Like they don't need to leave here, and they can check all this stuff without having to move. So you see more and more really cool tricks with him.
Yeah, it's been very interesting, especially you mentioned people using the power more for information, right? Going up, like going vertical as you're going around a corner, just so you can kind of see the entirety of the field, right? Instead of just kind of seeing like a ground line level, and seeing a lot of things used that way for sure. And I feel like that's also, I think, why there's such a widespread kind of circling back to the artists. If you look at like DBD Twitter, it seems like there's such a wide range of people feeling like she's absolutely buns and people feeling like she's very, very good. Is because some people I feel like are trying to use the constant like shotgun of all the birds instead of just using like one at a time where it's like more efficient that way, right?
Yeah, I've noticed specifically with her that um her power necessarily is not meant to down people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her power is strongest when she's zoning.
Yep.
Right, zoning and information gathering. Like her power down is kind of a gimmick. Maybe someone will get really really good at it and make me sound like I don't know anything, right? But what I've seen so far is people use her first to get some information. Are you over there? No. Okay, someone's there, and then they zone you away from where they want you to be and force you into getting hit. That's what I've seen be most effective with her.
Well, I think the biggest part too is because like her traps aren't easy to hide, right? Like it's not like a trapper trap that you can like hide in some tall grass or a hag trap that you just don't like. It's a big old thing of birds that's just sitting there. So it's kind of like you said, it's easier to avoid, not maybe used so much for the down, but definitely a lot of information.
Yeah, and like honestly on looping, when people are purposely trying to close the loop with her, it doesn't work because they just hold W. But when you are chasing them in the loop and you setting up kind of like how Freddy used to do, right? You drop the pools as you're running around. She seems to get a lot of value that way because it takes a second for her birds to actually come up, right? They don't just pop up. It takes a minute. And then you can see the trajectory while you're running and then, catch them. And I've seen that be very effective.
Now, as far as like her perks coming in, do you feel that there are going to be any perks on her that are going to be like meta shifting? Kind of like we've seen, like, we saw Deadlock from Cenobite seems to be like a very popular pick when you talk about like comp killers now, right? Do you think we're going to see anything as far as like the same from her?
Absolutely. I feel kind of ashamed because I don't remember the name of her perks just yet. I probably should. But there's one that I'm pretty sure it's one of her special hooks.
The Scourge
where
hook
she
one?
hooked. Yeah. Her Scourge hook one is pretty strong because it causes you to it regresses and then reveals your location.
Yep.
And I feel like I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like that could be really strong paired with what's the one? It's the Death Slinger one. I forget the name of it where like if you let go of the gen it blocks.
Oh god, now I'm gonna be really mad because I can't think of this right off the top. Is that Dead Man Switch?
Yes. So I think that paired with Dead Man Switch can be really strong because Dead Man Switch is kind of gimmicky, right? It doesn't really do anything unless you force them off the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to force them off the gen. But if it makes them let go automatically, so that could be really strong combo right there that we have not seen yet.
That's interesting. I haven't thought about that before.
Yeah, so I think that could be interesting. But there's the other side of it is like, especially in the comp scene, like hexes are like, whatever. But I just feel like that could be really cool. And I can see her rekindle being a good asset in comp, not in pubs, because boons are there's like 2 or 3 boons almost every game always. So it doesn't matter. They're always going to be there. So she doesn't really get that option, to use
the
rekindle because they're not breaking totems. But in comp, especially if no ed's allowed, that can be very strong because as they're breaking them, you can rekindle them. But it also is going to take you time to get in there and do that. So I think that could be interesting. But I don't see it being a meta, and we do see a missing blueprint there, so that's going to be a penalty.
We saw this the other day actually, and that was actually a bloody blueprint down the bottom. We'll double check that. But while we're loading in here, let's talk about how our killer for Monarchy can put up some points on the board.
Absolutely. I wonder if that's another one of those new errors. But first and second hook is 2 points each. Third hook is 3 points. progressions are worth 1 less point. Okay, so you don't really want those unless you have to. 7th and 8th progressions, all right, that's going to be worth 1 point each. A 4K is 2 points, so that's extra. That's what you're aiming for as killers, those 4 kills. An entity kill, right, that counts as the corresponding hook plus progressions. All right, but what you absolutely don't want to happen, right, you do not want to allow bleed out, because bleed outs are no points. There's a 30-point possible availability for killers, and if you need more on rules, hit that exclamation point rules in the chat.
All right, and we are good to go here. And we're going to have Slow bringing out a very, very, I like this pick. Another aggressive pick here. We're going to see some Billy gameplay. And if this is anything like the last Billy game that you and I called, this should be very fun.
Oh, man. This would be really interesting. I love watching good Billies. Oh, and we do see him avoid that blind, and he still gets the back rev on Z-Ready.
And this is tough. And I do see it looks like we might be seeing some frame droppage here. So I do apologize if that is the case, chat. We're going to try and fight through it and see if we can figure out what's going on afterwards. But a really fast down by Slow here. That's going to be a really quick hook. And it's going to be kind of in the corner of the map where it's like between your corrupt and non-corrupt side of the map, so you can kind of split your pressure here. You can kind of guard 2 gens that are currently uncovered while also monitoring your hook as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do see Corrupt helping him out here, and that he knows, like, you know, they have to come this way, right? Because all the gens are over here. He doesn't have to really worry about that side of the map because it is blocked. So it'd be interesting to see if they're gonna come in for this save, or if they're gonna just push the gen.
I would imagine with this situation back here, you're probably going to try and fix at least probably the 2 furthest uncovered gens, I would imagine. Yeah, there's going to be the one, and then now actually Deadlock is going to cover the one that is the furthest progressed. That's actually going to help our killer Slow here in this case, because that means it's going to actually give yourself, again, keep in mind we're by these 2 other gens. We still have about 12 seconds here left of Corrupt Intervention as well.
Yeah, he's actually in a very, very strong position right here, because as you know, the basement's right in front of him. All those gens were blocked for until now, right? That just ended. And they're progressed to second. So, and unless we see a camaraderie from this person, I kind of feel like they're going to go out early.
Yeah, and this is going to be tough because, again, we did see the Deadlock come into play here. So unless you do what we've seen some teams start to do, which is like the 99 tech, and you can get 2 gens to pop at the same time. When you pop one here, even before the elimination, you're going to have your one that's furthest progressed blocked again. And it does look like you mentioned, we are going to see our Survivor squad go ahead and opt for the elimination here. And this is going to be tough. I mean, we've seen Slow have some very really impressive performances thus far in this season, and Slow off to a good start here as well.
We do see that second gen go, and we do see Deadlock come in again. And chat, we just want to apologize for the frame issues right now. We're not sure what's going on, but you know, we'll do our best to work through it. We do see that it's lagging on our end. But we do see a bamboozle play right there.
That's going to be huge because that should be a down onto the Megan with a lot of really confidence and a lot of patience from Slow there, making sure that you're able to just keep the back rev. You do secure the down. We've only had 2 generators complete so far. So now Slow can really kind of basically leave this generator or leave the hook and start checking at least some of the generators. You actually see you have a Claudette there in the main building taking the fastball out. So we'll be able to use the chainsaw here to close the distance, but I don't think Claudette's going to be able to build too much room here.
Oh, it looked like they did a fast vault and then a slow vault back in, which I think lost them distance, honestly. They're doing a good job of looping this small tile, and they did make it back to the window. It's a very interesting play. They did waste a little bit of his time, and we do see scratch marks coming over this direction, so he's probably just going to push him away.
Yeah, that's actually going to be the Quentin here. We do see now taking the chase around the broken down truck, and actually also sighting Claudette trying to move in here as well. This is big because you're seeing the 2 survivors basically pushing in and then pushing back away, but that also means that you don't have any generators getting repaired, and you do have only 2 gens complete thus far in the trial. So Slow doing a very good job setting the pace for Monarchy here in the first trial, especially with it being 4 Dwights, 1 Locker's home. So right now you're going to be able to take a lot of the wind out of the sails if you can really secure another early elimination before we see a 3rd generator complete.
Absolutely. I really feel like it's kind of been detrimental. Oh, we do see the low pros activate right there. It's kind of a shame because you would think, knowing that he camped that first progression, they would have just said, okay, we're going to push gens. And I feel like they missed that opportunity.
Yeah, it was really tough. And we do see, though, with the unhook, though, at least you got that done. And you can now at least maybe start double teaming one of those gens across the way, especially as we do see Slow continuing to take the chase here at this tile. Not too much to work with. Our survivor actually doing a good job of holding W just a little bit longer towards the kind of the oblong portion of the tile itself. Actually taking a little bit unique tracking. Might be able to make the pallet here, but unfortunately that's going to be a down.
Yeah, that was a pretty good run by Joker. Honestly, he was almost in that path. I think if he would have cut that corner a little bit tighter, he probably could have got to it. It looked like he took it, like you said, the oblong shape. It looked like he kind of went a little bit wide on it and lost some distance. But nonetheless, that was a good run and let them get the save and the full heal back. So hopefully they're pushing a gen.
Yeah, we do hear the one that we were just by had quite a bit of progress on it. We see Slow got caught up on the hook there and just going to give it a quick M1 just for funsies. And now just going to be coming back over here and checking on our hook. I don't think we saw any scratch marks. We also see that this generator right here still has not gotten touched again, preventing it from regressing further. And we do see it as a Megan that kind of seems to be doing this little back and forth game as Slow gets back and over here by this window. Now Slow will push through the window though, which is going to give it the bamboozled status effect. And you might be able to get the down. As I say, this is over here by a 4 lane. Nice tracking though by Megan. Megan now going to be going along the outside and now should be able to go back through the 4 lane. Now wrapping back around towards this pallet. Slow making the right move, doubling back towards the short side where the pallet was itself. But at this point, Megan's playing some very risky games. Oh my goodness.
Oh, and that was a very nice curve with the low pros. I'm wondering if that wasn't communicated because it didn't look like Megan was anticipating that.
Yeah, I don't know if it hadn't been communicated as far as the low pros. There is going to be generator number 3 here. This is a very unsafe portion of the map to be working on. That is going to be a down here. We also know that we had this generator complete not too long ago. I was going to say, wouldn't you be surprised to see Slow actually going for the slug here, but instead you are going to put Trustin Godly up onto this hook right here. That is an elimination. Now you can make your way back across the map towards the hook itself. And now we are going to see with the unhook, you've got both survivors over here.
I think that was a very smart move just to, take that immediate death. Just get them out of the game. They still down 2 gens. BT is over, so I think that was a good move, honestly, because he knew that the Claudette was going to have to go for that save.
Yeah, we do now see, especially knowing that the survivor was just recently on a hook. I like this move. You never know who happens to be holding on to that decisive strike. Now taking the chase with the Claudette. Claudette building a little bit of distance there with the balanced landing. Does allow them to get around the rock here. We're also going to see that unbreakable across the way, which does mean that we now have 2 survivors back into play. Might be able to get that last, or not, I shouldn't say the last gen, but the 4th generator done, as that is going to get you 2 costly points here.
Yeah, I think their goal right now would be to finish a gen and hold out for hatch. I don't know. I don't see that they get the other 2 gens. Just the way he's playing so efficiently and controlling the map, it's going to be very difficult. And we do see scratch marks, which I don't know. I don't know about that play. I don't think I would be here.
Yeah, now this is going to be tough because we do see Quentin was able to reset themselves, so they are at least full health at this point, which does mean if they are trying to stealth around, as I was saying, trying to maybe set themselves up for endgame, they wouldn't be making any noise, but you have been able to locate some scratch marks. Now going to be taking chase around the fun bus itself, and This, oh, I was going to say, is a pretty strong tile, but actually breaking away here and basically just going to be holding towards the middle of the map. Might be trying to set up for a, I don't think that they're going to be able to set up as far as for a, woo! I was going to say as far as for a CJ, but you could maybe make a play as far as once you drop the pallet, but not enough time has passed here.
Ooh, and he does hit the edge of the truck, which gives him a little bit of space, but I don't think, I just think this is a dangerous situation to be in right here. Because it's just right with the low pros, he could injure you. And see, I feel like that's risky, right? That looks like a risky play to me. Unless they had the soul guard, I don't see the point of picking up right there.
Yeah, I think maybe you're hoping that there's a miss swing and maybe you take the hit and you're both one shot there. But yeah, definitely, it almost just seems like it's delaying the inevitable at that point. There's another plus 10 wood to the face applied to slow here. And, you know, now at this point with Joker being one shot, this is going to be tough because now you don't even have to worry about the chainsaw from Billy. Even just a simple M1 is going to put you down onto the ground. We are going to see Slow taking the chase over here at Shaq, though. Now going to be applying that. That's going to be the... Ooh, I was going to say there's an M1 there. Yeah, there's going to be that bamboozle blocking down the window and a very easy M1 at the pallet space.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like that was sort of a misplay. I think the smarter bet would have been to sit on a gen, let him hook them. And if they chose to camp him, because I don't think Draxy's been on the hook yet, right? So that could have been some valuable time. You know, I don't know. I don't see the need to come in for that pickup.
Well, I think maybe part of the hope was if you go for the pickup, you get exactly what we see here, which is the fact that you then continue to tunnel out onto the fully healthy survivor. And if that's the case, maybe you can actually get the bleed out. I mean, we had talked about, right? If there is a bleed out, it results in 0 points. So maybe that's a way for 4 Dwights, 1 Locker to minimize their point gap here because, yeah, you won't be able to get an escape, but this would be a full 7 points that you are able to take away from the killer.
Yeah, if they're able to last long enough for this bleed out, that could be effective. But at the same time, they're losing some points by not finishing those other gens as well. And we do see that he finds them in the corner. That's the thing about Billy. He's able to check the map pretty quickly.
And that's going to be wrapping things up here as far as the 4K, which is good news for you here if you're slow, because again, this was 3 states worth that was sitting on the ground. You are going to get 2 progressions, which is pretty tough. Oh, slow, please stop doing that with the already low frames. This is kind of tough for the stream to watch here. But yeah, we're going to go to a quick break here, chat. We're going to try and restart the stream as they switch sides and everything and see if we can figure out our frame rate issue here.